So real fast, I just want to speak on a piece of spiritual wisdom that I just picked up and learned today. I want to share it with y'all because this also is important to your walk with God once you figure out your purpose and invite God in. I was wondering, because like I said, I really started this walk in summer of 2023, and here we are pushing summer 2025 2 years later, and um I've been wondering why things haven't really been like picking up the way that I was expecting or praying or had hoped or whatever the case may be. And I thought that I was doing the right thing, and that's another thing, man. You have to be very intentional when you are on a walk with God. You have to be very intentional to seek His guidance, to seek His wisdom, and to not try to take control of everything. And that's what I struggle with: control. And you have to die to self too, die to your flesh. To be honest, like speaking on dying to self is, I'm not real, like I probably should look up some scriptures and some verses in reference to dying to self. But as far as like scriptures and verses, I don't have many right now to that I know of that really speak on that. But dying to self, releasing your control over everything and just giving it to God and abiding in God's grace and His presence and allowing Him to guide you is something that I am just recently really starting to understand when it comes to my walk with God. And everybody is at different levels on a walk. Everybody got different levels of knowledge. Everybody been reading the Bible for different periods of time. So it's a lot of folks who and I like who are a little well more versed than I am on these things. And like I said, I just picked this up today. So I speak to you all from my level of knowledge and from what I've been able to, the wisdom I've been able to gain on my walk. But there's still others out there who've been on walks longer than me and who have a little more wisdom than I do. So I am still, even as God's prophet, ushering in His will for the new kingdom. I still am learning each and every day. And there's still some folks out there who have some wisdom that can help me out. Like, so that is the wisdom that I want to share and impart with y'all today, is that the trick to actually having the purpose, God's purpose for you to manifest and to come into being a lot sooner rather than later, is to genuinely surrender control to God and abide in His presence and His grace. And the whole time I'm thinking like grace is just like God's, almost as an extension of God's mercy. Like God's mercy and grace is renewed each and every day, meaning that if you mess up one day, then God, His grace and mercy is refreshed every single morning. As long as you come to God, you apologize for whatever it was where you fell short or were disobedient, and you repent. And the next day, His grace is sufficient. That's what I'm thinking grace is. But grace is really releasing control, getting into relationship with God, and allowing God to guide you. Like actively be like throughout your day in God's presence and seeking God's wisdom for the next steps that he's calling for you to do, and stepping out on faith to fulfill those things, because it won't always be the evidence of what it is that God is calling you to do. That's why it's faith. You have to do it. You have to make it happen before there's evidence that it's even really happening, or that it's even really going on for real. Like, God works through people, through vessels, to bring his decrees and his plans and his will into being. But if it's not already there, then it's going to take faith from his vessels to bring it forth into his kingdom, into the world. You see what I'm saying? And so in order to do that, we have to, as his vessels, learn to release control, to stop trying to control everything. That's just going to slow God down. He can't work through us if we're too busy trying to take control of the wheel and work through ourselves. That's why we have to die to ourselves. That's why we have to die to our flesh and get into God's presence and his grace, and allow him to take over and guide us, and we follow along. Like, abiding in God's presence and his grace is letting go of control. Stop trying to control every aspect of your life, whatever that may be. Whatever, if it's money, to do this, to do that, to do this, that, and the third, and all these other things, whether it's different trials and tribulations and things that we got going on in our own lives, that we feel like, oh, if I don't handle this, it ain't gonna get handled. Like, no, that's not how we move forward in our purpose with God, and that's not how we receive God's blessings. The way to do that is to abide in God's presence and in his grace, to release control to God, and rely on God's grace and being in relationship with God 24/7 throughout the day. Just always including God and considering God in your decisions, and allowing his grace to carry you through, and stepping out on faith and allowing God's grace to multiply your efforts. When he tells you to step out and do something, and you do that thing instead of trying to take control and do whatever you want to do, then God can take what you've done, the work that you have done, through his grace, and he can multiply it, and he can make it make sense in the long run. So I just want to share that, man. That's something that a little piece of spiritual wisdom that I came across today that I was grateful for receiving. So I just want to share that with y'all too, man. Y'all be safe today. Stay out the way. Take everything one step at a time, one day at a time. Focus on finding yourself and finding your purpose. I love you, King V, H&R. And also, real quick before I get off, so I'm gonna be like, I got some ideas for some different content that I've been working on, that I'll probably over the next couple days or so just start like posting and clearing out the content that I already had. But the main focus of my content moving forward, for this particular point in time, is going to basically be like the video I posted, or the message I posted a little while ago, in my capacity and in my authority as the prophet, as God's prophet, who is bringing forth his plans. So myself, along with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and everybody that we are collaborating with, that is what is going to be my focus moving forward. But like I said, I got some ideas that I'm gonna kind of push out probably throughout the rest of this week, while also speaking from the prophet capacity, about the state of global politics and economy. I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all day.